Hi, everybody. Hello. Oh, I'm excited. I like the Q&As. These are fun. I love Q&As. All right, let me grab my water. Okay, so if you guys have never done this before, pretty easy going. If you just have any weird metaphysical questions or just any really questions in general, I mean, I'm here to help you. I'm not going to be doing individual readings on this one. So if you ask like how your mom is or grandma is or things like that, I won't be able to answer those, but I am here to help answer all kinds of weird questions. So let me adjust this here a little bit more. Okay, there we go. So, biggest thing is, like I said, I'm here to help you answer questions when it comes to metaphysical, like weird things. So that's what I like helping with. So, let's see. I know somebody was asking some questions earlier. Why do Christians feel like being a psychic medium is devil worship? Because we actually help you to connect with God source energy. And they don't want people that are enlightened, a bunch of enlightened people running around because, well, it changed the rules now, wouldn't it? So usually, honestly, if anybody approaches me with the whole religious thing, I have to honestly forgive them half the time because they don't understand. From my perspective on the mountain, they're kind of in a valley. And until they get to my perspective, it's really hard for them to see. And it's hard for them to understand a perspective that they've never experienced. So what I tell people all the time is it's one thing to understand your connection to God. It's another damn thing to feel it. And when you begin to go through a spiritual awakening or when you're enlightened, you feel it. There is a huge difference with that. And that's the difference between enlightenment and unenlightenment. That's the difference. And you can't explain what you feel and what you know to somebody that just doesn't get it. So it's really hard to explain. So usually I don't even try to explain it at all, especially if they come at me being a right fighter. So you're never going to change anybody's mind if they're a right fighter. You're just not. They just want to be right and they want to be heard and they don't care about your opinion. So how do you know if you're a narcissist? It's easy. You're selfish. It's easy. You're very selfish and you don't give a crap about anybody's feelings. You don't care about you just want, it's all about money, power, and control. That's what a narcissist is all about. So, can you be in and out of enlightenment? No. So I shouldn't say that. That's not necessarily true. I mean, so I was enlightened all the way to age 19 and then I shut it down because I was kind of scared and didn't quite understand what was going on. And at the age of like in my 30s, then I was able to say, okay, go ahead and turn it back on. And it came back on. So, but at this point, if you're already going through a spiritual awakening, you won't lose it. Now, it might get toned down a little bit, but if it does, it's because you need to pay attention or make decisions in your reality that need to be made. You need to make those decisions for yourself because spirit they can't decide for you. They can't affect your free will. That's a big no-no. So you have to decide for yourself. Acute pancreatitis, Crystal, anything yellow. Anything yellow is great. I like Golden Healer for that one. So like sense of time feels so fast. Yes, it is actually getting faster. And the more enlightened you become or the more you work on your spirituality, you're going to find really quick that time goes super fast, super duper fast. Let's see. Can a narcissist describe themselves as an empath if they're good? Yeah, because remember, a narcissist knows how to manipulate very, very well. You can never out manipulate a narcissist ever. So they'll beat you every single time. They're good. So, but no, the only time a narcissist will ever kind of grow out of it is usually when their mother dies, or when if they begin to go through a spiritual awakening. So that sometimes happens. Right shoulder pain, it's because you are taking on the burden of your father or you're taking on the burden of your children. So you're overburdened with responsibilities that aren't even yours. You're taking that on as your own. Just got my aura chakras photo. Does that overactive third eye and root chakra mean? It just means that you have a hard time grounding. So, and those two are usually weirdly associated with each other. So it just means that you need to make sure that you're grounding a little bit better. That's all. But those two, if they're over open or over closed, if it's over closed, that makes it more difficult. But almost always that one, those two in particular are okay if they are. Let's see. Why do children get cancer? There's lots of different reasons. Sometimes it's autoimmune. Sometimes 9 times out of 10, it's usually because they're sickly children. But again, if kids are sick all the time, it's because there's too much drama, too much chaos, too much noise in a home. So, on too much sugar. Kendra and I have been detoxing for 3 years, stopped MS drugs and doing great. Absolutely. Headaches and nausea the last couple days, we all have had it. So as a matter of fact, Eric and I were actually at a nutrition store trying to figure out how we can start gaining more weight. We're actually having trouble gaining weight at this point, and we just don't feel like we want to eat anything. And I know it has to do with eclipses and things like that, but man, none of us have been really hungry. We've been kind of tired, but not sleeping well. This eclipse really, there's a lot of energy and it really messed us up pretty good. So I've been telling people, get your feet to earth, literally bare feet, grass, stand there for a little bit. It's really going to help out, and make sure that you're drinking a lot of fresh water, like spring water. So make sure you're staying hydrated so that way everything can get flushed through you better. So let's see here. Best crystals for a nursery: kunzite, rose quartz, rhodonite are all great ones. Anything kind of pink and green. Can one get stuck in a stage of awakening? Not really, not really stuck. It's just, for instance, it took me almost 4 years, a little under 4 years to get out of a stage 3. So, because I'm stubborn, I got to learn the hard way, clearly. So, but yeah, everybody goes through an awakening at different times. So I know more ahead than anybody else. I just happen to have been enlightened a little bit longer. Replicating zeros mean that you are starting a brand new cycle in your life. That's what that means. Would you stop? Do you have to do this every time I have a live? Like, seriously, every time I have a live, my dogs are like, let's play. I'm like, why? Like, I can't hear anything. I'm like, why? More COVID lockdowns coming. I'd actually be surprised. And I don't think the government realizes if they do that, we're really going to rebel. So the indigos are just about had enough. Seeing flashes of things when blinking. T, that just means to tell me that your clairvoyance or your ability to see spirit is absolutely getting kicked into gear. So that's a good thing. So let's see here. Yeah, they want my attention. I literally gave them like a ton of love before we started for almost 20 minutes just to see if they wouldn't do this. And I'm like, nah, they still did it. So I know that's just Templeton. He just does that. If you shut down parts of your enlightenment, how do you get it back? Ask for it to get turned on. I know that sounds simple, but they'll turn it on when the time is right, when you're ready for it, not when you think you're ready. They'll do it when you're ready. Been seeing 1111, welcome to enlightenment. So you see 1111, that means that you need to take better control over your thoughts, which are your emotions, or your emotions are an indicator of your thoughts. So once you see 1111, you'll see replicating numbers for the rest of your life. So they'll start changing from 3s to 4s to 9s and everything else. So you'll see them every day for the rest of your life. So let's see, cause of macular degeneration, Tig. It's usually because you can't stand looking at what right's in front of you, or you refuse to see what's right in front of you. Crystal for arthritis. Feldspar is pretty good. Chrysocolla, Amazonite's pretty good for that. And I would say tourmalated quartz too. That'd be an okay one. How to manifest? It's actually pretty easy. All you have to do is, 1, know what it is that you want, okay? Number 2, you can't control how it's going to come to you other than trying to work for it. And 3, all you have to do is, before you go to bed, is imagine what it's like to already have it. The more you daydream about it, the quicker it's going to come. The happier you are, meaning the higher you vibe, the happier you are, the quicker it's going to come. So, yep. Is anger a part of this eclipse? All emotions are. And right now, what's happening is that all of these kind of seething emotions that we've been kind of, pushing down, it's all going to come out this week. So it's just kind of like, oh, you're not going to fix your problem? Spirit will help you out with that. So, and a lot of people, especially people that have mental health issues, this energy is not easy. It is not easy. Those that have depression, those that have anxiety, those that have bipolarity, this is not easy energy for you. I know it's not. So this is where I'm like, get the counselor, do what you need to do to stay as balanced as you can. But ultimately, you got to deal with the trauma. You got to deal with the abandonment issue, with the trauma that you had, or whatever it may be. So that way you can start to heal that part of you. Not easy to do, not at all. How do you know if you're a crystal or an indigo? Easy. I'm an indigo warrior, meaning that you can't tell me what to do. And if you lie to me, I will cut you to your knees, and I will do it with truth and integrity. A crystal is very sensitive. They have allergies. They're very texture sensitive, but they are like mini Einsteins. They have solutions to problems that are so simple that people are like, why didn't we think of that? Finding your soul's purpose. What I tell people is remember that you're going to find that at a stage 4. So this isn't till a little bit later, but what I tell people is follow your curiosity. If you're curious about a certain topic, go, dig in, learn. Now's the perfect time, by the way, to learn anything new. So that's like, just do your research. And again, if it resonates with you, that's your truth. If it doesn't resonate with you, it's not your truth. So your job is to figure out what your truth is and what it isn't first. And then follow the curiosity, and what you find curious or interesting, then that's what we want to follow. How do you heal your childhood trauma? Slowly, but be able to identify what it is first. And then say, if for instance, that you have a narcissistic father. Well, let's really break that down and look at how your father was raised. And maybe that might give you a little bit of insight on why your dad can't give you what you need. So you might need a gallon of love, but he's only able to give you a pint because of how he was raised. And that has to be acceptable the best that you can. And that's not easy to do, not when you need more, right? So could the general tarot readings on YouTube be accurate? You know what? I use my tarot cards all the time in individual readings, and they never lie. So if you find that it works for you and it resonates with you, cool, absolutely. What's the cause of migraines? 2 reasons. One, usually it's lack of hydration. The other one is perfectionism. So trying to be perfect all the time. I think somebody was asking me about meds. It actually, yes, it'll give you a bit of a ceiling as far as anxiety med, depression meds, things like that. But that ceiling is pretty high. And usually we don't need to really worry about that ceiling until you at least get to a stage 4. So, and stage 4 is when you're doing shadow work, and that's doing the hard stuff. So I think people get really confused thinking that shadow work is when you're getting a divorce or when you're moving away or when you quit the job. I'm like, no. That's just stage 3. Stage 3 is when we rock the boat. Stage 4 is when you have to literally eat your shit sandwich and go, okay, I got to deal with this crap and how I feel and why I react the way that I do and all the little nitpicky things. So that's usually where that one comes from. But usually you're going to add at stage 4 is figure out where that purpose is. And then we can start, once we work on the core issue trauma stuff, then we can work with our doctor and slowly start reversing those meds. Can you suggest a book or CD on shadow work? Not really, because it's to each their own. To each their own. Some people have trauma from parents divorcing. Some people have trauma from this or that. Some people, like me, who had a great childhood. I had a wonderful childhood. And then my dad died when I was 20. Well, I had to deal with that. So, but that was at my stage 4. I also left my husband, my first husband, for another dude. So I had to really own that, sit my ex-husband down and apologize for that, and really own it and understand what led me to do what I did. Why would I do that? So, and it was because I was young, dumb, naive, stupid. I didn't know how to communicate to him at all. And I expected this, which was absolutely unrealistic. So, but again, that was my stage 4. I had to deal with all of that. That's what I'm saying, is that a stage 4 is very raw. It's extremely uncomfortable. It's not easy to do. And that's why a lot of people say at a stage 3, they're like, oh, I'm doing shadow work. I'm like, no. It's the girls that come into my store at Awakenings, and they're coming in, their hair's all disheveled, and they're all like going like, I'm in the dark night of my soul. I'm doing shadow work. I'm like, yes, baby, you are. Yes, you are. You come here. Let's like, yes, you are. So it's the ones that are like, oh, I'm doing a little bit of shadow work. You're like, no, you ain't. No, you made some decisions. You didn't do shadow work. So that's why I'm saying it really is very difficult and it's very uncomfortable. And you really have to just own your mistakes and who you are, and understand that you have to forgive yourself for that and other people too. And that's, again, that's all that shadow work stuff. But it literally one little bite at a time. You can't do it all at once. So one little bite, and I got a counselor too. I got Reiki done. Absolutely. Like you name it, I did it just to try to really get myself figured out. So how can I increase my clairaudient? Taryn, that's a great question. So what she's talking about is the ability to hear. Now, remember, you're not going to hear in your ears. You're going to hear it in your head. Okay. And it's going to come faster than your logic. So you're like, did I just have a conversation with myself? No, you didn't. No. If you have to question anything, did I see that? Did I hear that? Did that just happen? Did I just have a conversation with myself? No, 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 you didn't. That is absolutely your intuition. And to increase that, number one, meditate. That's baseline foundation for Psychic Abilities 101. But number two, go outside. Leave your phone inside, go outside for say 15, 20 minutes and listen. Listen to the person mowing the lawn. Listen to the dog barking over here. Listen to the sound or the wind in the trees. Listen, just listen. And that tuning in to your surroundings and listening absolutely will help you increase your clairaudient abilities. So, and like I said, that sounds simple, but the more you just are in silence and just listen to the little tiny things, that actually helps out a lot. How do you give up on being right but not getting walked over? Boundaries. So, I mean, I will have a conversation with anybody, absolutely. But the minute they disrespect me, end of conversation. And if they continue to do so, well, that's when Kelli goes unenlightened. So, because like I said, I don't allow anyone to mistreat me. Absolutely not. So, nope. That's why I'm like going, I'm not going to sit there and take getting my finger pointed or yelled at, or because remember, I'm an indigo. So you don't do that to an indigo. A crystal person or a high empath will sit there and take it. So they'll be like, oh, well, they don't mean it. No, they do mean it. No, they do mean it. So, but I don't allow anyone to mistreat me. So, because I don't even do it to myself. Why would I allow you to do it? No. So, unenlightened with the head tilt. Yeah, I'll go ghetto if I have to. I'll take that karma. That's fine. Done it before. So, let's see here. Keep seeing animals like squirrels and such out of the corner of my eye. Turn, they're not there. Hey, that's okay. Remember how I just said that you're going to question, did I just see that? Yes, you did. That is absolutely your intuition. And when you first start to see spirit, you're going to see them on the corner of your eyes. You're not going to see them dead on. You're always going to see weird crap on the corner of your eyes. And you're like, and then you look and it's not there. So just understand that the rods and cones in your eyes don't allow you to see spirit dead on with your eyeballs. It's very, very hard. So usually we're going to see it here first. And remember, just because something shows up gray, dark, and gritty does not mean that it's evil or demonic. Not at all. And at any point in time, if it wigs you out a little bit, say something. If you're from my highest good, you can stick around. If not, get the hell on out. So something as simple as that. If they're not for your highest good, they will absolutely go. And if they're for your highest good, they're like, what? And you're like, what? You always do that. So what I tell people is try not to turn and look. Try to either stare at the ground or try to keep your eye just as much as you can here so you really can see right off to the side. But you'll know that the minute you turn to look, they're gone. You're going to miss it. And sometimes it's really hard to kind of keep that focus because then your heart rate kind of goes up and you'll kind of get out of it too. And you're like, oh. So it just takes practice. I've had a lot of practice, but I always have to tell people also there's a difference between being startled and being scared. So being scared, you will know that at a soul level if something is bad, evil, or demonic. There is no way of you not know. Even unenlightened people can feel that crap. So, but if it is for your highest good, it sometimes startles you. It really does. But And you can let them know, hey, you kind of startled me a little bit. And the last time I did that, I'm like, guys, you kind of startled me here a little bit. They're like, hey, you're coming into our world. We weren't going into yours. You were coming into ours. I'm like, oh, yeah, my bad. You're right. So do I have a list or definition of crystal indigo? I do, Ellen. It's on at psychickelly.com. It's on my website. So it's underneath one of my blogs. You can read all about it. Absolutely. So I have the gift of smell, don't like perfume in my home. No, Vita, that's actually normal. So if you have the ability of clairgusticent, which is the ability to smell, those are my people that are very sensitive to perfumes, colognes, essential oils. And so I even say that when people come and I teach them at Enlightenment Academy, when they come in person, I do have to tell them, please don't wear any perfume. I mean, yes, deodorant, but don't wear any perfume. Don't get overly stinky, because there are people in class that are more sensitive, especially with smells. So there's nothing wrong with that. And you know what? It's your house. You set the rules. So I have a lot of people like, well, I just don't want to tell guests not to. I'm like, no, it's your house. You pay for it. I'm like, those are your rules in your home. So don't be afraid to do that. Are there multiple worlds occurring through energy at the same time? Are my deceased ones loved elsewhere in another world? No, they're in heaven, but you got to think quantumly, not linearly. So it gets a little weird and techie, but for the most part, no, heaven is a different dimension. Yes. But that dimension is about 3 foot away. It's not that far away. It's not like in some far off clouds or something like that. Yeah. Tumor in sinuses. Brenda, you are really irritated with stuff. And tumors it's anger. So that's why I'm like bits of anger. So you may not be angry all the time, but when you get angry, you explode like a keg of dynamite. And so that's where, like I said, I want you to look at where that's coming from. April, bone marrow cancer, a lot of times emotionally is resentment, and resentment for you not able to have fun. So you're resenting either not being able to have fun, resenting a job, resenting a partner, but cancer is always resentment, and bone cancer is always structure or how you stand or how you hold yourself. So a lot of times that's going to be like you feel like you don't have you, because inside bone marrow is blood, and blood is always related to joy. And so it's kind of like you're resenting having joy. You just feel like I have to go to work 24/7. And if I'm not there, things are going to happen. And then when you really want to go have fun, nobody else is there for you, different stuff like that. So, but usually it is a resentment of not being able to have fun. And either you're blaming yourself, blaming the job, or blaming somebody else. Yellow in eyes, that's usually liver issues. 9 times out of 10, that's an issue with the liver. Why do people question enlightened people's faith in God? Because, like I said, it's one thing to understand religiously what your connection is to God and Jesus, but it's a whole nother damn thing to feel it. So, and enlightened people, like I said, they feel that, that connection, you have that faith. And it's different for unenlightened people. They have a hard time wrapping their head around it. So, but like I said, I don't debate those people. I don't have to. It's like I said, a lot of times they're going to come to me very much right fighting, and I'm not going to play the game. So, because here's the deal, if they really are right fighters and they want to be right, it won't matter what I say. But the minute I participate, they won, because they're like, see, told you, I knew she was going to listen to me. I knew it. But if I don't participate in it, maybe when they walk away, they're like, well, I wonder why she wouldn't even listen to me. So, and I'm like, because here's the deal. I don't give a crap what people think about me. I've gotten that way long time ago. That's done and over with a long time ago. So, but at the same time, I don't care what unenlightened people think of me, because guess what? They're not going to like me. It won't matter what I do. It won't matter what I say. They will not like me. And simply put, it is because we are on 2 polar opposite spectrums. Spiritually speaking, metaphysically and energetically speaking, we are oil and water. We're just opposite people. Those are the ones that I'll walk in somewhere and they're like, look at that bitch. Look at her. Look at that bitch. And I'm like, dude, I just walked in to get a cocktail with my husband. So it happens almost every time. And anymore, you just let it roll off, because again, they're ignorant. They don't know any better. And so that's where a lot of times I'm like, God, would you just help that one to see the light, please? I mean, I'm going to pray for them. I'm not going to participate in being an enemy, but like I said, it depends on how far they want to take it to. Having small psychic visions, how do we sharpen your abilities? Like I said, meditate. Meditation is the only way to learn control, to learn how to amplify those abilities, and how to be able to hone in on those abilities themselves. That's why I'm like, meditation is that important. And a lot of people, that are 30 or younger, or, in their mid 30s and younger, meditation is not easy because it's not instant gratification. And that's where a lot of people want that instant gratification. Like, it doesn't come with it. You've got to learn how to meditate old school. That's all there is to it. Don't get me wrong. You could do guided meditations on YouTube, all kinds of different things, but understand that it's just going to take some time. Yes, Kitty, you want hi. I'm telling you, every time I do a live, my animals are like, hello. Hi, Kitty. Yes, buddy. But what if I only see black when I close my eyes to meditate? There's nothing wrong with that. That's normal. So, because here's the deal, clairvoyance might not be your number one ability. Maybe it's clairsentient. So, and if it's not clairvoyant, you're going to see black. After a while, when your clairvoyance kicks into gear, you're going to see like purple swirly looking things. That's usually how it starts. Tumor of the thymus, Ashley. If that's the case, then that's usually, that has to do with that's like resentment with your heart. Like, literally somebody must have really hurt you. So, and you really resent that person. But that also has to go kind of hand in hand with autoimmune, which is also stress. So I have monkey brain with meditation. Yeah, I did too. And you said, yeah, that's perfect, Lindsay, because she's like, I listen to meditation before I go to bed. Great. That counts. Absolutely. Yes, it counts, because you're going into a meditative state, which is a subconscious state, and then falling asleep with it. Perfect. Nothing wrong with that. Now, if that's how we want to start, then that's how we got to start. So I will tell you that I had to start with 5 minutes at a time. So, because it was just difficult. Causes for high blood pressure. It's a combo of pissiness and stress, both. Dry eye causes fixes. Annette, a lot of times it's medical, like it's a medicine that's giving you dry eyes, or it could be allergies too. But remember, the longer or the more you've been enlightened, the longer that you've been enlightened, the more allergies you are going to have. So I am very lactose intolerant. Can't do it. Ain't no. I never used to be. Never used to be. So there's a lot of allergies that I have now that I never had before. And that really is because I'm vibrating at a higher energy level. Therefore, I'm not going to be able to tolerate low vibrational bull crap food anymore. Having so much anxiety and sadness for no real reason. Misty, I'll tell you what, that very well could be a release on some sorts, especially if you can't quite identify it. That's okay. A lot of us have been having this with all of these crazy ass energy switches that we've had. All cool. So the biggest thing for you is break it down and do the little things throughout the day that are going to make you happy. So if that means that we're going to jam out to the radio, jam the hell out to the radio. Like, seriously, do the little things throughout the day that's going to really make you happy. So because those little things will eventually get to bigger things. All righty. What causes Alzheimer's? A lot of times Alzheimer's for me is somebody growing up having a very hard life. It was a good life, but it was really hard. I see that a lot with people that are like farmers, or they grew up on the farm. They had to go out and go get chicken eggs so they could have breakfast in the morning. And they held on to that rigidity or that hardness, thinking that life is hard. And so what happens is we kind of let go of reality to let go of the hardness. So basically that's what dementia is. At least that's how I see it. 7-year-old daughter covered with psoriasis. Anita, that kid is stressed the hell out. And so that's one of those where we got to figure out what's stressing her out. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be looking at her dad. So that's probably going to be a dad issue. So dad is too much of a perfectionist. Dad could be narcissistic, or dad isn't there at all. So, but like I said, that sounds like a dad issue. My dad was a farmer, died of Alzheimer's. Thank you. Yep. I see it a lot with farmers because, again, they feel like they have to work hard to earn a living. I'm like, yeah, no, that's a boomer generation thing. It really is. Can stress and anxiety cause heart murmurs? Absolutely, Shelly, it can. Yep. And so, like I said, it's funny how many people have anxiety, and I'm like, but why? You've got a roof over your head, you have some money in the bank. Sure, we all have debt, who cares? But you have family, you've got a roof over your head, you have food, and you have friends. Like, that's a lot. And I think that maybe people like watch TV, too much TV, expecting that you should have more than where you're at. I'm like, no, 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 no. Be grateful for where you're at now. It'll start chipping away at the anxiety later. It really will. How do you know when you have your deceased loved ones are near? Ask them. I know that sounds weird, but ask them to give you a sign. And you, literally, usually within 24 hours, you're going to see something and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, that reminds me of them. I'm like, that's a sign. That's a sign. The other thing is pay attention to your left ear. A lot of times if your left ear itches or rings really weird, that's usually how you know that loved ones are around as well. The right side, a lot of times, has to do with shifts of energy. The low pitch is usually spirit guides, high pitch are angels. So you can kind of tell the difference, but left is almost always going to be your loved ones. I think I am psychic medium. How do you know for sure? Honestly, if you're seeing repeated numbers, you're psychic. I mean, I am no different than anybody else. So like I said, if you're seeing replicating numbers, you're psychic. So you just have to figure out what type of ability that you have. Like I said, everybody's got one type of like clairvoyance, clairaudient, clairsentient, clairgusticent. I'm just a weirdo that has all five. So, but imposter syndrome is legit. So I still have issues with it. And I've been doing this 10 years. So you would think I wouldn't have that issue. No, 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 I still do. Absolutely still do. Because it's hard to measure it. I mean, it defies your logic. So imposter syndrome, I swear, must go hand in hand with that stuff. So because again, it defies your logic. Do binaural beats help enhance psychic abilities? Not necessarily psychic abilities, but it absolutely gets the brain, like we have two hemispheres of the brain, right? It gets them in sync. So I really like those. And the reason why is because I'm more now right brain than I am left brain. And it's getting to a point where that's why I had to retire from doing individual readings, because I'm noticing that my left logical brain is getting worse. And if you don't use it, you lose it, right? And so I'm so right brain that I'm using it all the time. And then when it comes to logic, I'm like, and there's nobody home. So that's another reason why I decided to no longer do individual readings, just because I got to get my brains back in order. How do you know if it's intuition or trauma that you need to heal from? Look at how you were raised. Look at how you were raised. Microdosing, yeah, Jennifer, all for it. Absolutely, all for it. Yeah, I love binaural beats. I really do. I like those too. And they found that 40 hertz, when it comes to binaural beats, really helps with logical functioning. So again, that's one of my Achilles heels, is I have a hard time sitting down and focusing. Yes, I have ADHD. I understand that. But even without that, I have a hard time with my logic. So they have found that 40 hertz is excellent for binaural beats when it comes to focus and memory. What's up with the news talking about UFOs? They have to. There was an agreement made that they decided that they have to start doing slow disclosure. So you will start to see more UFO stuff. You're going to see a lot more videos. You're going to see a lot more stuff. So it's time. But they've come to an agreement. Basically, if you want to think about it this way, we kind of have some Guardians of the Galaxy, legit. And they pretty much were like, okay, if you're not going to tell everybody, we're going to leak. So you best be getting on it. So they've agreed to do a slow disclosure so people don't freak the hell out. But all of us that are enlightened, we're like, we've known about this for years. Let's see. What about Bigfoot? That's a cryptid. So absolutely, they're real. So they're actually extremely intelligent, and they like to play games. So if you go in there lighthearted and ask them to kind of play, they will. If you go in with an ill intent, they ain't playing. They won't show up. So are the Guardians of the Galaxy coming to save us from ourselves? No, it's our job to save ourselves from ourselves. They cannot come in, tell us what to do. They cannot come in and affect our free will. So a lot of people are like, well, we're waiting for the aliens to come down and help us out. I'm like, they're not going to. They're not going to unless we start making some moves on our chessboard. So that's why I'm like, we're at the point where we're now past 50% of people going through a spiritual awakening. So this has already kicked into gear a lot of different things. But like I said, we're at that point where they're not going to come down and rescue us. We have to save ourselves. We really do. So, because I think everybody's always looking for a savior. So I'm like, no, you have to do it yourself. Let's see. Can you talk more about 5D? If you're enlightened, you'll go 5D. Don't sweat it. Is clairaudient inherited? Sometimes it is. Yeah, sometimes psychic abilities absolutely are. Yes. I don't know where mine comes from. My mom and I were really, my brother too, we're all trying to figure it out. And we're like, don't know where it comes from. The aliens have been here. They've been here for longer than humans, please. Yeah. There's some good ones and some bad ones, just like people. There are. Let's see. Crystals for babies getting lots of viruses. I would go with smoky quartz, amethyst, clear quartz, black tourmaline. Your thoughts on being born with a veil? This girl was. So, yep. It said that people that are born with a veil are usually naturally psychic or highly intuitive. I believe that, actually. Dad's a healer, but crazy. Usually the good ones are. No joke. No joke, because they're meant to stand out, not sink in. Crystals work for exam luck. Oh, rainbow fluorite all the way. Rainbow fluorite all the way. Since a kid, because he floaties with my eyes. Oh, that's okay. That just means that you're naturally clairvoyant. I can too. So when I look at the sky, it actually moves. So we have it's almost not pixelated, but it looks like little orbs all over in the sky. So that's somebody that's naturally clairvoyant can kind of see that. Let's see. I'm clairaudient, scared to open it. Why? What's so scary? I think you watch too many scary movies. So there's nothing scary about it, especially, again, if you set your intent. Okay, I want to try to begin to hear you, but I'm scared, and I only want to speak to people that are for my highest good. There, you just put up a boundary. How to strengthen intuition? Meditate. Meditate, 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 meditate. My grandpa was born with a veil. He'll be 102 this Friday. Yep. And I have found that people that live the longest give no shits. They don't take anything personally. They don't get anxiety. They don't sweat over nothing. They let shit roll. I'm like, that's how you live the longest right there, is not giving a shit, not relinquishing control. Relinquishing control. Hair loss, crystal for hair loss. Selenite, howlite. I'd probably say gold related quartz on that one too. Maybe some amethyst. Let's see. You would say meditate. Is there another way? No, there's not. Like I said, everybody always wants the quick, cheap way of doing things. I'm like, it doesn't happen with psychic abilities. You've got to go old school, meaning that you got to get off your phone. You got to get off your electronics and be cool with that. And a lot of people have a hard time with, they can't put their phone down. So, how do you know if you're born with a veil? Got to ask your mom that question. Nosebleeds, you are crying for attention from your parents. It's a cry for attention in a weird way. Let's see here. Yeah, being born with a veil is part of the amniotic sac that's born over, or that's still on your head when you're being born. That's the veil that they're talking about. So usually people that are born with a veil or having the amniotic sac still attached to their head, that's what they're called, the veil. Can animals sense when you're pregnant? Yeah. Weird. Yeah. Especially cats. Especially cats. Cats are very clairvoyant. Very, very clairvoyant. I mean, every time I do a live, just so you know, my cat is right there. Like every time I do a live, he's either right here or right here with me. So, and anytime if I have to do a reading from home, he's always by my feet. And then there's certain times where he is insistent that he sleeps with me and he sleeps on my feet. And I could never figure it out. My friend Angie was like, well, he's grounding you when you're sleeping. I'm like, duh, of course he is. He's a black cat. So, Want to take my extensions out, Mercury retrograde? You're okay to do that. You're all right to do that. It's like I said, the biggest thing is you don't want to dye your hair purple or do any crazy stuff with your hair in a Mercury retrograde because, oh boy, that'll get you. That'll get you because you'll regret it. And that's when, like, you don't want to go on first dates. You want to say no to the exes, all that stuff on Mercury retrograde. We'll be out of retrograde June 3rd. So we're still going to be in Pluto retrograde for a little bit, but it's going to be a lot less spicy. So like I said, things should be starting to get a little bit easier now that we're past that eclipse. But it's still, like I said, this week is still a little feisty. Next week is going to be even feistier. And then after June, we should settle down a little bit. So is there any meaning to being born blind in my left eye? Yeah, Jenny, ask your mom when she was pregnant with you if there was an issue with something that she did not want to see with her mother. So left eye is mother, right is father. So I'm curious to know if her and her mom had a disagreement, a blowout, or she saw her mom doing something that she would rather not ever see. So things can happen in utero that happens with the mother that absolutely will go to the child. So I can tell you that uterine issues 9 times out of 10 are issues with your father. And I find it ironic that even like a girl was, I think she was maybe 13, 14, and she had endometriosis at 13. And she had a great relationship with her dad. And I was like, hey, mom. So I talked to the mom and I said, did you have a major blowout with your father when you found out you were pregnant with her? And she's like, absolutely. As a matter of fact, we haven't spoken since. I'm like, there it is right there. So it's never, nothing in this world is random. Nothing in this world is a coincidence. Nothing. And once you really get that and understand it, you'll begin to see the pattern. That's why I'm like, nothing happens to me that isn't random. I'm like, nope, I have to look at this and go, get down out. What's it teaching me? What did I do? I'm like, oh, there it is. So like I said, you really got to be able to look at it. 19-year-old has gotten a bit less intuitive. Will it start to come back without focusing? Yes, Corey. It's really common when they're 18, 19, 20 for that to really tone down because they're going from an older child to now a young adult. That's a big transformation and a big change. And so whenever we go through huge changes like that, our intuition gets kind of squashed a little bit because, again, we have to make those decisions for ourselves. So moving across state in June 1st, will be okay since in retro. Give yourself plenty of extra time. Make sure you leave, like I said, make sure you're not rushed for anything because those are the times when you're not expecting anything to go wrong, but Mercury's at play. So you might have a flat tire or God knows. So just give yourself some extra time to get there. Don't get rushed. I know my grandma was an alcoholic and did cocaine and really bad relationships with abusive men. So there you go right there. Like I said, left eye means that she saw her mother doing things that she would have rather not ever seen when she was pregnant with you. And most likely they had a massive blowout at that point. So that's all again, nothing is random. That's where it would be. Dreaming of having a period when I shouldn't. Mindy, that's okay. That's a release. That's a good thing. That means to tell me that you're working on the issues with your dad. So, or an ex-boyfriend or ex-husband. That's a good sign in my book. Actually, that's a release. That is a good sign. Can a spirit give us a message by physical poke on a certain area? Yes. Yes, they can. I hate it when they do that. So, especially when I'm on stage, like they'll pat me on the ass, and I'm like, really? And I'm like, did your dad used to do that too? They're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, because he just did it to me. So, but yeah, they will do that. Let's see. Issues with my sister for years. And you have to understand, first of all, you picked your siblings. It's your job to figure out why you picked them in the first place. And they're going to be the complete polar opposite of you. Absolute polar opposite of you in every way, shape, and form. They're supposed to be. Crystals for MS. Jade, chrysocolla, rose quartz. Our 5-year-old random fever is due to being highly intuitive. Usually that's stress. Yep. So like I said, figure out what's stressing them out because kids should not be stressed. They shouldn't be. So they're stressed out because their parents are stressed out. So they're taking on parents' own stuff, or they're listening to you talk about how you're stressed, which makes them stressed, especially if they're crystalline kids or if they're empaths. So I was born during a Mercury retrograde. Sheesh, this won't bug you at all then. Mercury retrograde, you're like, and what? So those are the ones that are like, I never have a problem in Mercury retrograde. I'm like, because you were probably born in one. So, and they never have any pickles. Let's see your glaucoma. That's usually, again, Liz, because you don't want to see what's right in front of you, or you refuse to see what's right in front of you. Crystals that are good for that one, lapis lazuli. Amethyst is okay for that too. I can't pronounce it, but that dumortierite. I can't ever pronounce that one, but that's another really good one for your eyes. I want to unpick my siblings. Boy, don't we all. How do I know my birth chart? JB, you'd have to get an astrology reading on that one. So one of the girls at Awakenings named Jessica, she is an astrologist, so she could totally hook you up with that. I picked my parents, but they never raised me. I will tell you, Godzilla, that you picked an abandonment issue. So if you had picked your parents to abandon you, your job is to figure out why you would pick that for yourself. Because here's the deal. Having an abandonment issue is one of the hardest issues to have. Having both parents leave you is the hardest, bar none, absolute hardest lesson that you could pick. Absolutely hardest. And the reason why is because how are you supposed to learn unconditional love when your parents weren't even there for you? That's difficult, very difficult. So that's what I'm saying is a double abandonment issue is one of the hardest issues that you could pick coming into this world. And everybody's going to have an issue. Okay, mine's my love life. Some people it's themselves. Some people it's grief. Some people it's their family. Everybody's got an Achilles heel coming into this world because you want to master it. That's why. You want to master it. Cardinal attacks my side mirrors in a truck. Well, that's because it's mating season and, well, cardinals do that. So unfortunately, sometimes that's not always spirit led. Is breaking a mirror bad luck? No, I've never known it to be bad luck. I guess, I don't know. Let's see here. I've had 5 come across my odometer fly in front of me while driving all on the same day. Yep, Tylene, that means to tell me that there's change coming. And here's the deal. It doesn't mean it's bad change either. So, but change is coming. Wanted to know about the Great Pyramid. Oh, yes. So it's at this point, though, it's a kind of almost outdated technology. But there's a lot of power within pyramids, though, however, there really is. Has a child lose sense of smell? It could be from COVID. I know that a lot of kids are struggling with smell with COVID stuff, and I don't know why, but they are. Why do I feel no longer like having kids and getting married like an awakening? BC, that's normal. So give that a little bit more time. Wait till you're in your stage 4. You might rethink it, but it's all good. It's okay. Scoliosis, Erica, that could be, there's a couple reasons, but a lot of times it's lack of support. You feel like you have to do everything yourself because you've got no support system around you. Reason for having schizophrenia, Megan, a lot of times that is, if it's like a brother, 9 times out of 10, I found that they had forceps when they were born. So it was kind of a traumatic birth. But here's the deal. Schizophrenics are drowning in the same waters that I'm floating in. We are the same, only I'm enlightened, they're not. That's the only difference. I hear voices, I see hallucinations, I do too, right? So, but I'm also enlightened, I'm in my positive, they're unenlightened, they're in their negative. So they're drowning in the same waters that I'm floating in. We are no different, none actually. So, teen daughter has scoliosis after loss of dad. Yep. She lost that support system. Yeah. Causes of Parkinson's. For me, that's autoimmune stuff. Too many viral illnesses led you to Parkinson's. Best crystals is going to be like feldspar, gold tiger eye, selenite. Have you ever tried to a spirit from Egypt back when they built the pyramids? No, I haven't, because for me, I was already in the pyramids in a previous life, so meh, it's old news. So no, I guess I haven't. Um, let's see. What can we expect to see positive changes in the government? It's going to get a little worse before it gets better. And right now, the indigos are really starting to kind of stand up and kind of saying enough is enough. And we need more indigos out there to start kind of rocking the boat here, and standing up to the bull crap. And you're already starting to see it, within school boards, medical boards. You're starting to see it. So, but like I said, they're going to try to quiet as many people as they can, but they can't quiet us all. So that's why when you see me say indigos rise, that's an indigo's job is to rock the boat. We are here to break down the old systems that no longer work. It's our job to break it down, and that's our children's job to rebuild it back up with all these amazing ideas that they have. So we're here to work together. And then those crystal kids are now having rainbow children, and those kiddos are like peace-loving little hippies. So they're the ones that are like reminding us, hey, we're all alike, shut up and sit down. We're all like, okay. So, but they do it with love, pure love. So, are there any crystals you absolutely do not recommend pairing together? No, actually, it's a-okay. The only thing is like some are uppers and some are downers. So like carnelian's kind of an upper, and like blue lace agate's kind of a downer, right? So if you have those, they're still going to, one's going to open your throat, one's going to open the sacral. They're still going to work, but one's kind of an upper downer. So they're going to kind of, I guess, maybe void each other out energy wise, but not chakra wise, if that makes any sense. So actually there really isn't any combos that are bad. No. Not eating lately, we all aren't. None of us are. So none of us have an appetite. We're all very achy, sore, headachy, crabby. But like I said, after today, we should start getting a little bit better here. So we're all kind of getting our poop back in a group, but this week and the next week is still going to be kind of up and down. And then, like I said, after about the 3rd or 4th of June, June's going to be great. So we'll kind of get our crap back together in June. Let's see. Are the traumas we deal with in our personal life to prepare us for the psychological war we've gone through in the world right now? Yes and no. That's why indigos are going to choose a hard life. We're supposed to. Indigos will never have an easy life. Like I said, we're not supposed to. Rainbow kids will, but that's our job, is to deal with our hardship, our traumas, how we were raised. Because once we really understand it and get it, nothing can affect you. Nothing. And when that happens, that's a dangerous person. Somebody who's dealt with their traumas, who's very enlightened, they can rock a boat. So that's why it's my job in this orchestra, so to speak, is to help the enlightened ones so you guys can fix your stuff so we can all start working together. So that's my job. My job is not to, lead the pack here. My job is to get you to remember who you are at a soul level, which is Christ consciousness, which is who you are connected to. So that's my job. Should I buy kitchen appliances or wait? Wait until after retrograde. We never buy anything electronic, mechanical, not until after the retrograde, because you'll buy a lemon, it'll break. No. Should we start to make food and be prepared? I've got a little bit of stuff just in case, but I think there's so many of us now that are enlightened that we're going to call out some people's BS here. So we really will. What things do you do to learn the tarot? Hillary, what I did is I took one card at a time, one every night. I would look at it and kind of memorize it and be like, okay, when I see this is what this card is going to mean. And then I know it's weird, but I put it underneath my pillow to sleep on. And then the next day I would get another card. I just would do one card a night to memorize it. And sometimes with the guidebook that it came with, it didn't always match up. Like culmination, whenever I see that card, for me, it's education. So it doesn't mean whatever it said for the description. I'm like, no, this is what it means for me. So that way, when I announce this is what this card means for me, my spirit guide's like, got it. Cool, we got it. So that's how we begin to establish communication. Is there a difference between Blu-ray star seeds and indigo? Nope, we're besties. Nope, we're splitting hairs on that one. Heck no. No, we're all on that team. Yep. My dad was born in the 60s, lost sense of smell as a baby. What was he exposed to? Napalm? Like I said, that sounds fishy. It almost sounds like something environmental would have caused that. Or, yeah, environmental. I have an appointment to get my car worked on tomorrow. I would honestly try to delay it. It's a mechanic's dream. Whenever Mercury goes retrograde, it is a mechanic's freaking dream. So next door to us is a cell phone repair company. And he always comes in about that second week. He came in yesterday. He's like, hey, is that Mercury and Gatorade thing going on again? I'm like, yeah, it is. And he's like, yep, I could tell. My sales started going up again. I'm like, yep. So that's why I'm like, when it comes to a mechanic or a cell phone repair company or tech repair company, they love Mercury retrogrades because everything goes to hell in a handbasket in a Mercury retrograde because Mercury is ruled by communication and fun and money and finances and all that other stuff. So yeah. Dreams of herbal remedies, patchouli. Patchouli is extremely grounding. It's great to open up your root chakra. Full of energy lately and snacking. That's great, JB. So my energy is great now. It really is. My energy's back on point. I'm good to go. My husband, opposite. He's tired, lethargic, doesn't have an appetite. So he's in that boat. I just bought a mower on Sunday. Ooh. You know what I would do, and this is just me, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't care, but this is what I would do. If you accidentally buy something mechanical or electronic in a Mercury retrograde, sage it. What? Sage it. What the heck? Your neighbors might think you're weird, but who cares? At least maybe that might prevent it. I don't know. That's put good hooju on it, right? So wake up often during the night. Welcome to the club, Erica. Once you become enlightened again, you only need 4 to 5 hours of sleep. You don't need 8 to 9. 8 to 9 are for the unenlightened people. Enlightened people need 4 to 5. Right rib. So that would be that's usually issues within a relationship with your husband. Sometimes that has to go with your dad, but a lot of times that's an issue with your husband. Uncontrollable urination, you're literally pissed off. That's what that is. And you're so pissed off that your body is literally releasing that anger. How do you know if somebody's crystal, indigo, starseed? Okay, so here's the deal. We're all starseeds. So we all are. But an indigo is somebody who you can't tell us what to do. Like I said, crystal kids are very sensitive, and rainbow kids they probably maybe had one previous life here on Earth, maybe. So they're pretty newbies. Rainbow kids, the oldest rainbows right now are going to be 7 years old, if that. So, and you will know them because their eyeballs are huge. Their eyeballs are bigger than their face. And they're the ones that are like, hi, little baby. And they're like, hi. And you're like, whoa, what the hell? That's a rainbow kid. So like they're advanced. They're so advanced that a lot of times they won't even talk. So they won't talk to the 3 or 4. But why should they talk? Everything's done telepathically. So they don't talk. And they do try to talk to you. They'll put your third eye to your third eye. So that's how they try to talk. And if you don't listen, they headbutt you. Crystal kids do it too. Didn't Aura told you're an empath? Will you always be that way? Yeah, I used to be more empathic. I learned how to control that. So again, I started looking at, like, instead of me feeling like I needed to go in and rescue or go in and give advice, I had to learn how to take a step back and not dispense advice or not rescue people unless it's asked of me. Otherwise, I'm actually obscuring them from learning a lesson, and they're going to have to learn it anyway, with or without me. So I had to go and realize, like, why do I feel like the need to go in and rescue? Where is that need coming from? So, and a lot of it is, I had to learn how to put up boundaries. I had to learn how to say no. I had to learn and understand even energy exchange. I help you, you help me. if I'm willing to help you, I can't be upset because you're not willing to help me because I didn't put that boundary out there the first time. I didn't sit there and say, oh, you need help. You know what? I'm going to need some help on Friday. So do you think you can help me out on Friday? Okay, cool. And if they're willing to do that, great. If they're not, which 9 times out of 10, they're like, oh, well, sorry, I'm going to be busy. And the minute I stopped calling them, reaching out to them, talking to them, they disappeared. And I had to realize that I was the one doing the work, but they really didn't care about me. And so you spend, especially at a stage 4, you're gonna stay pretty quiet, pretty to yourself, but you're supposed to, because you got to learn how to be your own best friend. You really do. And I think the idea of being lonely scares the hell out of people, and it shouldn't. Because if you're your own best friend, nobody will ever leave you. Like, you'll never care if people come into your world or not, because you're your own best friend. So you don't have to worry about what other people may think or feel about you or their opinion, because what matters is my opinion about me, not what you might say about me. But if I think it's true, then that's my problem. So like I said, you really got to dig in and look at that. But when you've begun to go through an awakening, you kind of want to be by yourself anyway. So it's not that big of a deal, really. Let's see. Is feeling like you don't fit in part of the abandonment? No, that's normal. A lot of kids who are naturally intuitive, it's like we had a lot of friends, but we never really fit in. We were cool with everybody, but we never belonged to anybody. Those are the people that are most naturally intuitive, believe it or not. And even now, I have a wonderful group of girlfriends. I really am so lucky to have them. And you know what? They're all at a stage 4 or a stage 5 of their awakening. So I'm very, very lucky to find my tribe, but it took me a long time. It really did. It took me years. So, but I see now why they couldn't come around. It's because I had to do the work for myself. I had to stop relying on other people to make me happy. I had to stop relying on things externally of me. I had to learn how to only depend on me. And once I did that, life got a lot easier. Don't get me wrong, I would ask for help along the way if I needed it. And that was another challenge for me. So because I'm naturally very, very independent. And I'll tell you what changed it for me was my mom. My mom had said something one time and she goes, you never ask me for help. And I'm like, no, I don't. And she turned around and she goes, Kelli, sometimes people need to be needed too. She was right. My mom is an empath. Her job is the caregiver. And for years, I didn't want her taking care of me because I was so independent. But now when I feel overwhelmed, who's the first person I'm going to ask? My mom. And you know what? She will drop whatever she is doing to come help me out. And that in turn has led me to be a better mother to my daughter. So it really kind of came around a little bit to where my daughter is like, I don't want your help. I'm like, I know you don't, but I love you. And I know that you're kind of having a depressive issue right now. And I'm going to help you clean your room. I'm not going to blame you for it. I'm not going to fault you for it. I just know that you're like me and you don't like to ask for help. But I know if I help you clean your room, you're going to feel better. So it really helped in the big picture of things. So, but like I said, it wasn't until my mom said that I was like, I don't have to be independent. I do have people that love me and that care for me, but I'm not speaking my truth when I really need help. Instead, I get mad at her because she's not there to help me. But I'm like, how would she know? Right? So that really opened everything up for me. How do you know if you're an empath? You're the caregiver. Point blank. Empaths are my number one caregivers, are my teachers, my counselors, my nurses. They're my caregivers naturally. Yes, there is a stage 5. I'm at stage 5. Stage 5 is when you know who you are, you know how you're connected to God source energy, you know how you're connected to every living thing and every person, and you will treat everybody like they are your brother or your sister, no matter how bad they might hate you. So like I said, I can't be mad at somebody who's unenlightened anymore. They don't know because they've never been through the experience of going through a spiritual awakening. So how would they know? You don't. So instead, you just pray for them. You're like, God, would you just help that one? Give them a piece of light, like light them up, would you please? So best way to start shadow work, you just start. You just start. And the biggest thing is, again, look at those triggers. Just like I said in my daily reading today, people don't piss you off. You allow yourself to get pissed off because of an unresolved issue in your childhood or earlier in your years. So like I said, if you're upset, if you're depressed, you have to look at the core issue of why. Again, nothing is random. Not one damn thing in this world is random. Everything is connected. Everything. And everything has a flow to it. It's really easy to see when the higher you go, the more enlightened you become. Really. Yeah, nothing is a coincidence. It was like, is this a coincidence? I'm like, I hate that word because it's called synchronicity. If you're seeing 1111, it's no longer coincidence. It's synchronicity. That's what it's called. So how to fix unresolved issues? Slowly. Like I said, slowly. But you got to go one baby step at a time. So, but a lot of times what people don't want to do is put up boundaries. So if you have a toxic mother that is constantly calling you, I'm like, don't pick up the phone. And people are like, but I have to. I'm like, but why? Why? Because society says you're supposed to? No. If somebody treats you like crap, you don't allow it. So that means you don't answer the phone. It's simple. And you can call them when they settle the hell down. So, like I said, all different kinds of reasons. Why all of a sudden does people kiss turn my stomach? Tig, look at your parental issues. Look at how your parents, if they kissed in front of you or not at all. So my parents did. My parents hugged and kissed in front of me all the time, and they joked around and played a lot too. So, but there's other couples like how we're raised that they don't do that. That's a big no-no. We don't give hugs and kisses in front of children. I'm like, oh my gosh, why? So, born identical twin, passed away shortly after birth. How can I connect? Most than likely, Denise, your twin is going to be very close, very, very close. So all you have to do is ask that twin to come through in a dream. They will. Oh, that'll be easy. Difference between anxiety and intuition? Big difference. Intuition, there's no fear. Anxiety is fear. You're scared of what you can't control in the future. That's what anxiety is. Intuition is natural, it's easy, and it's fluid. It's fluid. So your blood pressure doesn't go up. But nothing goes up. It's fluid. It's easy. Anxiety is fear. That's what anxiety is. So you'll hear a lot of people saying, well, stop living in fear. That's what anxiety is. You're trying to control things that you have no control over. None. How many spirit guides do most people have? Anywhere from 1 to 6, 7 or so. Heard my name being called. Ooh, that's your spirit guide. That's them initiating contact with you. And it's almost like when you fall asleep, you'll hear your name and you're like, that name sounds familiar. And then your brain's like, holy crap, I just heard my name being called. So, but that's almost always your spirit guide initiating contact with you clairaudiently. Good time to plan for change and then take the jump for expansion after retrograde. Yes, after retrograde. Now is awesome, by the way, for creative ideas, creative solutions. Your intuition is great right now, unless you got some drama you got to squash. But intuition is always very high in a Mercury retrograde, believe it or not. So you're going to have awesome, amazing ideas to be able to help you out. But hold off on any big plans until Mercury goes direct, which, like I said, is June 3rd. Pain and soreness in the right elbow. That is like you're really trying to hold on to something that you got to let go of. You got to let it go. Good time to change jobs? No, it's not. Nope. I would wait until after Mercury retrograde. You never want to start anything new. Nothing new in a Mercury retrograde. Going back to old projects and finishing up, perfect. Cleaning, perfect. We don't want to start anything new in a Mercury retrograde. No new first dates, no buying a house, nothing, no new plans, nothing new. Tension, headache, since the eclipse, yep, normal. Yep. So June 3rd is when it ends. June 3rd. So we're almost there, guys. Looks like it's 8 o'clock. So I'm going to take a pause because my throat's starting to get scratchy again. That's weird. My throat always gets scratchy when about 8 o'clock rolls. So I am doing Q&As, like I said, weekly at this point. I'm doing them on different platforms. So YouTube, I'm also doing it on Instagram. I'm also doing it on Facebook. I'm doing it on TikTok. So if you guys don't follow me on those platforms, make sure you do. It's all underneath Psychic Kelly. That's where you'll find me. There is a lot of freaking scammers out right now. So make sure that it's me. So mine is just Psychic Kelly. No no dashes, no dots, no exclamation points, no nah. It's just Psychic Kelly. That's it. So there's a lot of freaking scammers out there right now. I mean, a lot. So don't get swindled. I'm not going to reach out to you via messenger and be like, oh, I got a message from your mother. I'm not going to do that. So like I said, that's all scams. Don't fall for it, please. I think I have 3 right now that I'm trying to get shut down on Facebook. I've got 3 or 4 on Instagram, and I think I have 2 now on TikTok. So if you guys see those scammers, by all means, please report them. But they always block me, so I can't report them as myself. So if you guys can get to them before I can, by all means, go ahead. And if you want to mess with them a little bit, fine by me. I'll take that karma. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Like I said, I'll be doing this a lot more, considering that like I said, I'm gonna start backing away from individual readings, so that way I can help teach you guys some more. All right. So thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful week ahead. It's getting easier with the retrograde passing. All right. It's getting easier with the eclipses passing. It's getting easier. Hang in there one day at a time. All right, guys. Take care, guys. Bye.